I'm going online.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to everybody. And thanks for tuning in. I hope you are able to hear me okay. And we are visible to everybody. I can see 20 people are already watching us, which is good. And today we have Birgit with me. Thanks for being here, Birgit, and
Oh,
welcome to the webinar.
well, thank you for having me. It's great to kind of be on your webinar. We have talked quite a bit beforehand on various WordCamps. So yeah, I'm glad we
We
can do
have,
this
haven't we,
together.
right? And I think we met in WordCamp Asia in 23. That was
Right.
first time we met. And it was obviously entirely coincidental as WordCamps go, right? You just meet
Right.
people and you
Right.
become friends.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, so great, great being friends with you and great having you on the webinar today. We have Bud who is asking what were you doing 5 minutes before this started. So I was driving in Indian traffic. How about you, Birgit?
Well, I was trying to figure out, okay, what are the resources for the people who are watching? Because I have a feeling that we have multiple levels of
Many
um,
things to show.
anything to show. Yeah, I have here
I
a
mean,
Google Doc.
I said so many things to show, right, today?
Way too much.
All right. So,
But
and
I can
Mhm.
share the link. How do I share a link? Hang on.
You just can paste the links to in the comment section and it will go to all the connected
Okay, that's cool. So
channels.
comment section. Oh, I see the
We
comments now. Well, hello, Bud. Hello, Morrison. So here's a link to a Google Doc that has a list of courses on block themes. And it also has a section that says tools, but it's actually only one tool. That's a great block theme plugin. And then a set of
You said
10
great block theme plugin. That's the
create, create.
create, not great.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, no, I need to be a little bit more careful with my accent. Yeah.
No, it's totally my fault. And I think somebody's saying that, I think it's easy, right? Lizzie, sorry. Yeah. Lizzie is saying that, hope to attend my first WordCamp this year. Uh, which
Awesome.
WordCamp are you trying to go, Lizzie? Would love to meet you in person. Arash Safari, developing a blog. So he said he was developing a blog 5 minutes before, which is like right on time, right? Means
Right. Right. Yeah. If you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think Birgit, means before you get started, I think you are available on Twitter and make Slack as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And my handle
Mhm.
is on all of them is BPH.
How did you get
Um,
that?
well, you gotta have to be early.
You gotta. It's the timing, right?
It's the
Nice.
timing. Yeah, I've been on Twitter since 2008. So, and it wasn't hard on WordPress.org, but I started on WordPress with in 2009. So it was pretty much together. Yeah. So yeah.
Right. So we
Um,
have Yuan from Patagonia, and we have a lot of people joining in now. 40 people are watching us online. Let's
well,
get
hey,
started. Let's
welcome,
just
welcome.
jump right into it. So, Birgit, what are we learning today, and what is this webinar all about?
Well, I wanted to let people know that block theme development is possible for no code site builders as well as for developers. And with block themes, what also comes with it is a reduced footprint on the CSS. So, but it's kind of going right in the middle of things. So the difference between block themes and classic themes is that everything is most of the styling is done through a theme JSON file that is then pulled into the WordPress um, ecosystem software, and it has three levels. One is coming from core, all the styling that comes from core, from the blocks mostly, and then the second level is from the theme through the theme JSON file, and then last level is from the users that go into the global style section and make decisions about color palettes, about typography, about borders and dimensions and all that. And that's also where creators create their patterns, or um, both of them, theme developers as well as site users, can create their own templates. And that is something totally new to WordPress. It kind of, before in classic themes, to change a template, to even change the remove the date of a post, or change the headline, or add or remove the featured image, that was all done through code, so you needed a developer to do that. And with the site editor now in WordPress, you can do it all on site. If it's the small things, that's all the good thing. All the big things can also be done on site with the site editor. It might not be completely feature parity yet, but the block system, the site editor, is definitely getting there.
Okay. And
So that's kind of the difference between classic theme and block themes, from a high level point of view. Um,
so people who are starting with WordPress today as an end user, or specifically for developers, because that's this webinar is geared towards more of it like a developers and theme developers. Do you suggest to start with a block theme right away, or they should learn classic theme as well? Because they should learn both in a way, or just block themes are enough for now?
I, I think block themes would be enough to start out. Yeah, there are a few things that come over from classic theme into block themes, um, but they are so focused on certain things that you can learn about them even when you're just using a block theme, because it's yeah, like the functions PHP. When you have additional need for programming in PHP as a developer, you can do it all in functions PHP. But if you because the styling and all the yeah, how you can do sections, how you can do patterns, those all things are really very well thought out and work very well for your customers. And they would and you are getting to a successful yeah, finished theme much earlier, you know, than with a classic theme, unless of course you're a classic theme developer, then all bets are off, kind of thing. Yeah, so yeah, but if you
Right.
start out completely new, I would do block themes. There's some great material out there. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. And I think in today's topic, we are going to learn how to get started, how to think about. Um, so when I was transitioning long ago, I come from a programming background.
Yeah.
So I was transitioning from jQuery to more reactive based development. So Angular JS or something like React JS. So there was something called as thinking in React, or thinking in reactive programming. So I think, how do theme developers think in block land, right? As you said, there is theme JSON. There are so so when they design something in Figma, how do they take that design into the block environment? What are the components they need to learn, and what are the components we are covering today?
Mhm. So a block theme developer, it takes a long time till to get to a place where you actually need to touch React, because everything is done either in block markup. The patterns are in block markup. That's kind of, you can take it out of the canvas from the site editor, copy paste it into your patterns. The templates are, you can create through the site editor, and then add them to your file system. Um, the same with styling. So even the create additional styles for certain blocks. So if you want so the block styles is the first level of extending core blocks. And if you want to have, for instance, a block quote that has a different frame around it, or an image that has a border um, rounded corners as well as a drop shadow. You can write that in just now with WordPress 6.6 in a JSON file that follows the theme JSON notation, and then WordPress will pick them up from your styles directory and then adds it to the editor so your users can see how they look, and also adds it to the front end so you don't have to mess with block code, neither with CSS, unless you want to put the CSS in the JSON file. Um, that is actually something that is really changing how block styles are actually made. And that also came with section styling. So if you have a group block, or maybe even a media text block that has an image and then you have multiple headings and paragraphs, you can style those completely with a JSON file, um, and um, and then offer that to your clients, and you don't have to touch any React or PHP or JavaScript for that. It's that relatively. So I come from a programmer background. That's certainly the case, but I found that theme JSON or any other JSON file is actually very well humanly readable. Yeah, so it's not obscure code, or you need to kind of go through all the if and then kind of things.
So those
And
who
you,
can like understand JSON can simply edit a JSON file,
yeah,
pass it, like basically make edits, and then
mhm,
it will automatically take those changes, and then you just have to hit refresh, and then it will just work.
exactly.
Um,
There is a little bit of caching on the theme JSON, but the other JSONs are right there. When you make some changes, you see it right away. Um, there was some. So there's also the what clients also can do. So you style a block, um, and they don't have to touch all the different controls all over again, over and over. And so you offer the style variations, being for section styles or for single blocks. That's kind of uh,
Sorry to interrupt
the
you,
thought behind it.
Birgit. Um,
Hmm. Sure.
Basically, we are going from writing CSS by hand
Hmm.
into building these styles and style variations and so on via JSON, and most probably via the site, the block editor itself. So you don't actually need to touch CSS unless you need to touch it, right?
Right. There are a few things that, and you can even have your CSS in the theme JSON if if there isn't a particular control there
Something
for
like an
the
inline CSS.
inline CSS. Yeah, if you want to do some animation or something like that, you will can put it into the theme JSON file to yeah be pulled into the design. Um, but what I wanted to also say is that you can switch it off, but you can say, okay, so I give you the the brand design for a certain section, for a call to action or for the footer, and then I'll give you style variation so you can change the color settings and the font settings automatically with one button click. That's kind of the situation there. But you could also go into the global styles, and per block can change what the style variation looks. Yeah, if you don't like, for instance, the drop shadow that is in the style variation, but you want to have the rest of it, you just go into the global styles, click on the variation, then you can change as a site owner or as a designer that particular shadow, and then that will then always be pulled in when the style variation is kind of clicked on, or the yeah
Oh,
the block
okay.
style variation.
So
So
let's take a step
it's
back.
really cool.
Uh,
Yeah.
Uh, Thanks for that. Let's take a step back. So, as a theme developer, as a theme designer, I should focus on a couple of things, right? Learning theme JSON, learning global styles, right?
Mhm.
Which is actually connected to theme.json eventually.
Right. Yeah. If you learn the theme JSON, you also know what's in the global styles. Yeah.
Right. And then style variations, which will allow me to create different styles of buttons if I want to, or
Hmm.
in a similar fashion, right?
Yeah. On sections. Yeah.
And overall, right, means in globally, we can create style variations as well.
Yes. Yes. You
Okay.
can
Okay.
create style variations for your theme. Yeah. So the 2024 actually has about 6 or 7 different style variations that change the overall look and feel of your site with one button click.
Mhm.
And that is it's really cool. Yeah, so you can have a dark variation, or you can use a lighter one with more blue or with
Mhm.
more red. So you can adjust the color variations or
And
the
this can be really like powerful when somebody's selling a template design
Mhm,
ready made, right? So they can bundle a couple of style variations inside the same template, right? So
mhm.
essentially
Yes,
making it like multi layout or multi purpose in a way, right? Not multi purpose, but yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
multi look, which can
multi.
be variated a little bit or here and there,
Mhm.
which can be used by the clients in whatever fashion they want.
Exactly, exactly. And with 6.6, if you as a theme developer don't want to go that far to a full style theme variation, you can just say, okay, and now I offer you 8 different color variations. Yeah, so the rest of the site stays the same, the font
It
stays the
depends
same, and
upon
that's
the
it.
use case to use case.
Yeah,
All right. All
and
right.
as well as for the typography. So you can also offer typography only variations to your clients on your theme.
Okay.
It's also good for companies that have multiple departments,
Mhm.
yeah, where they have different brandings, and they can do it all in one theme now and just kind of adjust that branding for a particular site. But I saw the other comments coming in that we need to, okay.
Yeah, we have few comments.
Mhm.
Attributes in block.json can do magic, is what RS is saying. Um, so, what is the next item on agenda for today, Birgit? Do we have anything you want to talk
So
about?
I wanted to point to a session that we did with theme developers that are not developers. Uh, that can, but then, so the idea at the beginning was that we have the core styling, then we have the theme JSON and the theme styling, and then the user can change things in the site editor. And for some, or the theme developer can change things in the site editor. But the question was very early on, okay, so the changes that are done on the site in global styles, they are stored in the database. How do I get them out of there into my theme so
Right.
I can attach some um, 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 what is it, version control to it, and put it up on GitHub or something like that. And
Right.
then I can want to point to a session that we did with those theme developers, and there are some instructions here. Um, oh, we're coming back, and I have that. Oh, do I have a link here? Uh,
So yeah, the link you shared is already in the chat, and I have pinned it on the top. If you want, I can share my
okay,
screen, and so that everybody can have a look at it.
so I can share. Yeah, so yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
Um,
I am on my screen, and you have
right,
selected the fourth link in the tool section.
exactly. Yeah. So when you click on
Going to
that,
open it. Mhm.
yeah, can you also run a video on that?
Sure.
It has sound, so I'm not sure. So this is a theme developer from Automattic who does all theme design changes
Mhm.
in Playground, so in the site editor, and then connects with GitHub and sends in a pull request for the version control.
Right. So basically, um,
Can we?
this
Um,
shall I?
so the sound doesn't work, does it? Would it?
I don't think so. Do you
Okay.
hear the
Yeah,
sound?
I can. I can. Well, if you can go back to the I can kind of put it together. If we
Do you
go
want
to the
to?
beginning of it, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. There
So
we go.
the designer is using Playground and has pulled in a theme from Automattic that she wanted to change
Hmm.
from the full list of it, and that's the theme. And she wanted to change on top, so there is some padding on the header. So, and she actually found that there was only one click that she needed to do. But first, she installed Gutenberg, and then she installed the Great Create Theme Block plugin, and then made some changes on the Playground. One was to store in the thing, store
So
on the
if you
browser.
refresh,
Yeah,
the playground will still remain there,
yeah. And
and the
then
ability to
also,
add the network. Okay.
yeah. And now she connects to the GitHub account
Mm-hmm.
and then pulls in the directory
Mm-hmm.
um, from it.
Mm-hmm.
She types it in where the directory for the theme was.
Got it.
Yeah, and then says, okay, this is a theme. The
Mm-hmm.
playground, okay, pull it in as a theme, and then clicked on import. Um,
Okay, so path is inside the repository.
yeah,
If you have it on the root, just leave it as /.
exactly. And now she makes the changes in the editor, and there was
Mm-hmm.
actually just a toggle, but it brought together. Okay, so these all the changes are gonna be. Oh, she then installs Gutenberg just to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that she has the latest version, and then the other one was the create theme block theme plugin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So this is the plugin you talked about in the beginning of
exactly.
the call. Okay.
That kind of gets you um, for everything out of the database into your theme directory
So
files.
basically, exportable, importable format, right?
Right.
Which I can
Yeah.
share with people. Okay.
Yeah. So now she's in the editor and looks at the template that she needs to change.
Right.
And that's the template. And then the header there, she needs to, she navigates to the header.
Just
And then
as an example, right? Means it
that's
can be
just
anything.
the changing is just an example to demonstrate the process. You just needs to um, toggle
And
that
just to be clear, we are actually changing the global uh,
header.
thing, right? Means it will be it's the header thing, right? Which is applicable to the
Right.
entire
Yeah.
website,
Yeah. And
not
then
a page per se, not the content.
and now she uses the plugin. So if you go a few steps back, if you go a few steps back where she, yeah, so on the, she has the second sidebar there where she can say, okay, save the changes. Yeah. And that's coming from the plugin. Save the
Right.
changes, and now you can kind of continue.
Mhm.
And it reloads it. And now she can go through the playground system and export it as a pull request.
Okay.
And the playground fills in all the details that it already has. Um, and then you just write the comment for the commit message. And then check also, okay, you could also download it to your local system if you want to,
Right.
and then submits the pull request to the GitHub repo.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then she gets a little note with a link to the pull request on GitHub where she can do add additional things. Yeah. And this repo also has and she can control the file changes. And that was just in the template part, the attribute for the layout there. And
So just
that's
a
pretty much
second.
it. Yeah.
So here, this is the magic, right? I mean, this is where the database is being pulled out and then pulled into the HTML file,
Right. Yeah.
right? And that's where the three checkboxes is what made this happen.
Yeah. The save the changes. Yeah.
Got it.
Where all that. So the whether it saves every template and every global style change, and the instructions on how that works is actually in that recap. So underneath the video there's the whole workflow explained again. Yeah. So yeah,
There
it
you
was
are.
part of a hallway hangout where a lot of quite a few theme developers came together and kind of also wanted to know about that um, process. So
Mhm.
the part where theme development or theme design comes in that video was very small. It was just that part where somebody goes to the editor, makes a change, and then pulls it again into GitHub. But Beatriz Fiallo did the video, and she is actually the theme designer who did the full WordPress.org redesign with all the news and all that. And she only uses the site editor for her design. So it's really interesting to follow through that. She doesn't have to do any development. So the process could be that a designer can prototype a lot of things or finish it in the site editor, starting from with a create block plugin. You can change, you can start out with either make a child theme of an existing theme, block theme, um, make a clone of an existing theme, or start from
Example,
scratch.
essentially, right? In this, so when we pulled in the form theme, which was essentially a clone of that form theme into
Hmm.
that, right? That's what we
Right.
did in the example which we did. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
And we when we want to start from scratch, is the 2024 theme enough to get started, or they're like we? It's better to choose a theme which represents the design which I'm going to make. So that will be helpful, right?
Yeah, that would be helpful. I would go with a block theme because the great block theme only works with
Right.
that, and the site editor. Um, but what you also could do is actually start from scratch in the Create Block Theme plugin, and then you get just a skeleton. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so the one template is the index template. We all know that from the template hierarchy, and then a few pattern and a few files. So we can actually. Um, so I started when I do testing of all the new features for block themes, I actually start with one from scratch, so I can just concentrate on that one thing that I want to test, without getting into the way with other things, because there are so many dials and settings that can, if you are not careful, you kind of get yourself really down the rabbit hole with things. Yeah,
Right.
if you want to
Right.
test.
Right.
So yeah.
I think the next
So
item is um,
others ask if you is it possible to apply global styles variation per template or per page? There are, well, style variation, that those are actually patterns that you can apply per template or per page. Yeah, so it's not this. Yeah, it's we have a proliferation of terms that are a little bit kind of confusing when you hear them first. But patterns are the ones that you can um, actually add to every page or template if you want to, but you also can restrict them to say, okay, this is a pattern I only want on a certain template, or this is a pattern I only want on a certain page. Or when you
can
create a
we
page that it actually is a new pattern that comes in. Yeah.
create like page templates like we used to in the olden days,
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely.
So that
Absolutely.
can, I think, help Arash
Yes.
in his
Yeah.
query.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You
I think
can.
he has more queries. Yeah, go ahead, Birgit.
Yeah. Yeah. You can definitely create the templates like you did before. They're just not PHP but HTML. You could have PHP templates in between, um, and there will be filled up unless there's an HTML version of that template there.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
so
Got it.
it can be a little bit. I haven't tried to do a real example with mix and match of that,
Hmm.
but yeah. Um, so there's the so many questions, and that's okay, Rasha. No worries. We also jumped right into the deep end of the pool with a certain thing. So kind of pulling us out again is really a
Yep.
good idea. Yeah. So it's an ideal way to handle assets in a theme when using version control. There's no difference to how you did it before. Yeah, you have an assets folder, and the Create Theme plugin, if you add a background image, for instance, to a template, or you add an image to a header or something like that, it will pull it out and add it to your theme files. So you can bundle it with your theme. And that gets you into the version control as well. Yeah, logos, media files as well. Yeah. Um, and you said you were having issues with that?
Yeah, I think he has issues. So let's wait for him to comment on that. In the meantime, let's
Yeah.
move on to the next topic. Um, you said what is new in WordPress 6.6, maybe? Do you want to cover
Yeah.
something
Yeah, we
there?
can certainly talk about it a little bit more. Um, can I share my screen?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. There is,
There's a present button there.
right. So
Yeah.
present, I'm
Oops.
going to stop mine so it
Okay.
removes.
So share a screen. Oh, there's a lot of there's a caption in between. I don't really need to caption. Screen sharing is easy with 2 monitors. Share a screen.
So
So
the issue
let's see.
he's facing is that the ID and the source of the images will be different in different environments, right? So, yeah.
Right. The IDs of what is the question, and the sources. You can. Yeah. Yeah. So going from local to staging to live, yeah, that is definitely not yet completely handled. It would work if you have those different branches in your GitHub repo, yeah, where you say, okay, this is my local file and this is my, yeah, and then you could with GitHub Actions probably synchronize those. Yeah, so I was kind of can you see my screen there?
Yeah, I'm going to add it to the
It looks
stage
a little
now.
funny, yeah, right now because
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah.
um, so I have a few themes there, and one is the assembler theme. That's actually pretty cool, and I wanted to show with that not so much how a website looks, but what they do with the in the style variations. They have the color. They have a lot of color variations. Yeah, so they don't have styles for the full theme, but you can change the theme or the sections that you want into a
Nice.
different color. Yeah, this is really
Much
nice.
more granular. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
exactly.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. So when you go to styles, you don't see the style variations that 2024 has, but you can also kind of whoops, you can definitely change. Yeah, there's I don't know. I haven't counted them. How many style variations that there
There's so
are,
many. Yeah.
or color variations there are. But it's kind of stuck now. Yeah, so that is what I wanted to leave that site. And then I have a theme. That's the plain theme that I did before. I activate that. And then I have here on the post, I have uh, image with style variations. Yeah, so I have one with purple, I have one with red, and I have one with blue. And I kind of can edit the post. And then when I click on an image and click on the styles thing here, they come in here with purple, blue, red, blue, kind of, yeah. So how does that look with code? We can go in here, go to tools, and look at the file editor, and I have here a styles folder, and I have here the image blue border JSON, and just and it has here so it's a schema, the theme JSON schema. I have a title, I have the slug, and I can decide for which block type I want this style variation or this variation to be
So if I
applied.
just need like this to be applicable for, let's say, buttons and others, I
Yeah,
just need to comma separate it into this
yeah.
array, right?
You can
Let's say.
also say buttons for that, and then it applies also the same styles. Yeah, and then you see the color, style, width, and
Mhm.
radius for the border. That is all hard coded, but I then can also here reference a variable, and that is the WP dash dash presets dash shadow. That's the core shadow name natural. So I don't have to come up with the settings for that. I just say, okay, I like how core did it. Let's pull it in. Yeah, and with that file in the styles folder, I this button is available um, on this. Whoops, not button, the image. Yeah,
Image, yeah.
yeah, the image, and that is only this one. I also added, so these two were added with a previous version on how to register styles. But what happened was when I went to um, going to the styles editor and to the styles and wanted to go to blocks. And then so in image, I see the blue border. Yeah. And I can say, okay, now I, as the user or as a developer, or even as a designer, I can say, okay, I want to change this drop shadow to this one here, and then save it. Yeah, it's
So
now custom
you're
style.
actually you're going to actually change the global variable for drop shadow,
Yeah,
and that will automatically be referenced by the style variation which we used.
right. Yeah. So
Got
when
it.
I go back to my previous post
Yeah,
and
I
view
think
it,
that's it.
I have here the other shadow. And
Okay.
every image that used the same style variation before has been changed with that as well. And then when I go in and in the editor again, and I have that. See, this is um, the tool for the create block theme. I can say, okay, um, save the changes to my theme, save everything, save the changes, and it says okay. And then we can see where it actually changed things. So theme file editor, my styles, that still looks the same. But when I go to the theme JSON, I find block image blue, red, and then we come, where's the,
I think, yeah, line number 60.
yeah, yeah, this
Okay.
one is it. Yeah.
Blue border.
So
Okay.
it only has it overrides only the shadow. The
Mhm.
rest stays the same for that
Mm.
blue border. Yeah. That is really cool.
So essentially, what has happened is you define your styles in the styles folder, and then we used it. When you changed it, it got dynamically saved in the theme JSON file, which is applicable to your current project, right? Is that the correct interpretation of this?
Well, there's a one step in between. So it first got stored in the database.
Okay.
So it's again the hierarchy or who wins out is first core, then theme JSON, and then the users changes are in the database. And what happened with the Great Block Theme plugin Save the Changes was that what was in the database was then pulled into the theme JSON file. So
Ah,
yeah,
without that,
so
this
that
wouldn't have
that
happened.
part, yeah. that part
Okay.
is the gray theme JSON file. So um, that's happened through the plugin. Automatically, it would just stay in this database, and you wouldn't be able to pull it out for your theme. Yeah. So um, because of course that's the problem. That's one of
Hmm.
the intrinsic problems from block themes, that if a user changes something, then it stays in the database, and you need a way to get it out of there. You could either write your own script, yeah, to watch for changes in the database for that, or you can use the great block theme plugin, or look at that plugin and adopt some of it for your own code. Um,
Makes a lot of sense.
yeah. Um, so what else is 6.6? We talked about the style. So, oh yeah, okay. I have another theme, and I think there was only that was the, sorry, theme. And I'm just pulling in the 2024 because that's where I made the changes that I wanted to show you as an example. What's that in post? So here in this one, I have the Walt Whitman kind of media and text.
Hmm.
Oh no, so that looks just that comes from theme the 2024. Um, oh no, I put it in the other theme. Sorry. So, but we now see how that is if it's not the right theme. So I pull that in again, activate it again, and then I'll go back to that page, to the Hello World page, and you see there that whole media text looks totally different, because this theme has also a style variation that is a little longer than just 4 blocks, and that I
Is
can
that for
show
the
you.
whole pattern?
That's for the whole, not for the whole pattern, just it is for the block, but it has additional inner blocks in there, right? They have a header, we have a paragraph, and then we have another header and another
Hmm.
paragraph with a different color. So you can put, so if you as a content creator says, okay, that's my style, you would have to touch the global styles, highlight things, touch it, um, maybe 15 times. Yeah. So a style variation that is a little bit more complex than just for one block helps you with that as a theme developer and designer, to provide some ready-made um, styles for blocks. Yeah. Oh, so when we go to the tools, a theme file, yeah, when we go to the styles again, there is a second folder in second file in there. It's called just variations A. Yeah, and that says also theme JSON version 3 called variation A. Only applies to a core media text, but it has a style. So the color of the background and the text, and then the a different the same color also applies to the heading. And then we have additional blocks. If there's a group block in there, change the color and change the element for the heading and for the text, change the color for the text. So when we go back to the post, we can open up the, so if I highlight that, and go to styles. So that's variation A. I could go back to the default one, and then it looks like it was for the other one. So variation A colors it all. And then when we click um, on the list view is definitely your friend. Yeah, we have a heading, and then we have a paragraph, and then we have a group block. That's a stack variation with another heading and another 2 paragraphs. And those were then changed through the variation and attach additional information, colors and font if you want to. But you have, so you can do a lot more complex designs with that and offer them to your um, users.
Okay,
That's
kind
the
of a
whole
like a
section.
UI kit when you are delivering a theme, right? Means you can have different variations for the
Yes.
for
Yeah.
the customers to
Mhm.
actually choose from. Let's say a design one or two. So
Yeah.
that's really good. I think we have a quick question here from Russell. He says, "Can the Create Block Theme plugin be added retrospectively to a theme that I'm already creating?"
Yes, it can. Um, and you can save the theme JSON, the theme that what comes in the database. You can certainly do that. You say, okay, save. Yeah, when you go to the where am I? Here, when you go here, save changes to the theme. Yeah, that will take whatever's in your database and add it to the theme that's already on the site.
Right. So that can be added at any point during the
Yeah,
development.
yeah. I haven't tried it to go how far back to go. Yeah, but and there might be. Yeah, I haven't tested that out completely. That I say, okay, for 3 months I used my theme, and then I used the Create Block theme to save it all. But it definitely is worth looking at that. So here are two settings that are normally not set. Um, which you will probably do, localize the text, um, and then localize the images, and then remove navigation refs. That's what Asha said before, that some of the refs are not identical, um, because in a navigation setting, the system refers to a certain menu, and it will default go back to the default page list when it the menu isn't there. Yeah, so that's what you want, and then save the changes. Yeah, and then see what happens. Yeah, but yeah, theoretically, it would be, yeah, would be definitely worth it to do.
Right. We have one person, Don, saying that I find that WP blocks very confusing to use. Is that something new people going to the block will also say, or it's just like it just takes time, let's say a couple of days or weeks to learn all the terminology for block editor?
So it depends on where the confusion comes from.
Right, it
Yeah,
needs to be a
yeah.
little bit more detailed.
Mm,
So, but the details, sorry, the resources which you have shared, that can be a good starting point to remove some of this confusion, I believe.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Um, it's definitely so. It's hard to expect that it's completely intuitive. Yeah.
Right.
It's still, the site editor is still quite in development, and some of the confusion, if it expressed very specifically, can be taken care of. Yeah, we have an outreach channel in the WordPress channel where we actually answer those questions and kind of try to work through, okay, what is it exactly that people stumble upon, yeah, or stumble have a hard time with, and to also relay that to the developers to kind of say, okay, we create the bug report or the feature request together, to take care of that confusion. Um, it would be, um, but some of that, so it's like learning to ride a car. Yeah, sometimes you get the big picture, but then if you switch from stick shift to automatic, yeah, you have a time of adoption. Yeah, where you say, okay, yeah, the first 10 times you still want to use the shift the stick to shift gears, and then your brain kind of adjusts to it. Yeah, so it might just be a
That's a good
transitional
analogy.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's really confusing. Or when you switch sides and driving. Yeah, I I used to drive on the right hand side, and everywhere I go is on the right hand side. But when I go, I was in Malta, and it was, yeah, I get into the car and I turn to the wrong side to get my seatbelt. Yeah, 15 times before I actually realized my brain actually
Right. You need to
adjusted to
register
it. Yeah,
that. Right. You just need to adapt it. Right. It's the new
yeah,
situation,
yeah.
new area. Bud says that why don't we just include the CBT plugin into the core? It will speed up the adoption of block themes, he says.
It might. Yeah, yeah. It's not a bad idea. Um, it's and but not everybody needs to do something with that. There is an export theme in the site editor already. That's a feature there, but it does not deal with the database part of it. Yeah. So the create block theme is more. It's definitely a proof of concept that goes very far because it's done in production. It's done used for theme developers. So it's beyond a prototype or a proof of concept, but it's also always a little bit behind on core. Yeah, what they are working on right now is adding a pattern manager to the Great Block Theme plugin.
Yeah.
Uh, but the pattern manager is just came in to core.
So
Yeah.
will it
So
like export the patterns
yeah,
from the database into the files, right?
yeah.
And then you can export that along with your theme.
Right, right. But I think they're also waiting for, so what's in 6.7, what the theme developers don't have. So, sorry, 6.6 has this wonderful sync pattern overrides, yeah, where you
Right.
can create a pattern and then allow certain things to be overwritten when it's used, mostly content. And
I think that was received very well by the
ve-
development
yeah, that
community,
was kind
right?
of a
Means
long time
you
coming
can
as
like
well.
give like partially updated components per se, right, to people, so they don't mess with the components which they don't need to mess with, right?
Right,
And
right.
right, yeah, that
And
was yeah much in demand. Yeah, go ahead.
mhm. Yeah, and the other advantage is when you change the design of that pattern, like the background or the font, yeah, all the instances where you used it, even if it has a different content, it will follow the new design when you change the original. And that is something that was a long time, had a long time coming, and it was really something where the pattern were not adopted as much as one wanted to, because that design kind of was it was removed from updating the other instances. Yeah. um, yeah, so and that needs to come not only to the, so that's in 6.6 and you should really try it out and push it to the limits on that. What is on the roadmap for 6.7 is that a theme can also provide synced pattern with overrides in their file system. So right now, the pattern that a theme provides, when you add them to the canvas of your block editor or site editor, the connection is lost. Yeah, so between the pattern and the instance that is there. So if you want to make it a sync pattern as a user, you need to copy it and then toggle the sync for it. And that's a little bit cumbersome, but it's a good solution. Yeah. How often do people change their theme, right? Um, and that is something um, the core computers are working on to bring that feature also to of sync pattern overrides to the theme files so they can provide the pattern and the overrides with it. So also when a theme developer provides an update to their theme, they can update the patterns as well. And it kind of is then propagated through the whole site that uses the theme. Yeah, that's kind of the idea about it. It took a while to kind of bring all the pieces together. That's why it's not in there yet. But yeah, um, there's definitely, you will see it on the roadmap. Speaking of which, 6.7, August 15th at
Oh, okay,
1500
that's soon.
UTC
Hmm.
is a hallway hangout um, that covers what's next for Gutenberg. So if you are interested in it, um, yeah, definitely check that out. It's a post on MakeBlog. I can share the link. Ooh, where is it? Oh, random. Um, just give me a second here. I grabbed the link because it's not in the resource.
Right.
Um,
Or we can you
I,
can add it to the resource as well.
Yeah,
I
I
think
can.
that will be good.
Yeah, it's the hallway hangout, August 15th. Oops. I think it's 1500 UTC. Oops. And that's with Anne McCarthy, and she will talk about um, the post itself also has all the topics that are gonna be in there. So sorry, I needed to sidetrack that. I didn't want to forget. Let everybody know that that is coming up in 2 weeks. Um, but what was
So,
I talking about?
thank you. We do have a question
Yeah,
from Harsh. He says that, do you have any impact on website speed when using block theme?
much faster, much faster. Yeah,
That's what
Phil.
I have seen as well.
Yeah.
And most of
Mhm,
people actually praise that about block themes.
mhm. Yeah,
And the main reason is that you are not completely messing up with CSS. You're not loading any JavaScripts. All of them is already optimized for you. You are just like building on top of it. So which is why it makes it faster. Don Selly
exactly.
says that there are instances where people install the classic editor immediately. I think that's just going back to the same thing, is that it just give it time, right? Learn more about block themes. Obviously, when something new comes out, it takes it takes time for people to understand it, to start developing on it. I think it has matured so much in the last couple of years, so that you can just dive deep into it and join hallway hangouts, go to make Slack and learn more about it. Um,
Yeah,
mhm,
man, that is a muscle memory. Yeah, if there are pieces of the website that need the classic editor, yeah, then there is no reason to not install it. But try to give um, your clients also a choice. Yeah, the classic editor comes with a toggle that people can decide which editor is going to be um, their default one, and just talk with them about it and maybe see what they prefer. Yeah.
right. We have one more question from
Mhm.
Edric. It's good to know that 6.6 about patterns created patterns for a client with the intent of content not changing, but now they want to change content on certain pages. That's, I think, the classical use case of synced pattern overrides.
Exactly. Exactly. That was actually missing. Yeah.
Right, right. Do we have any other things to talk about today, Birgit? Guys, please feel free to ask more questions in the meantime.
Well, what also was in 6.6 was a way for content creators to create shadows. Yeah, the shadows came in 6.5, but they were only for um, for the theme builders, and you couldn't create your own shadows. So I'm gonna see if I can demo that a bit. So I'm going over here and go to pages, and I go to, well, no, that's the wrong one. Of course, that's the wrong one. Hello world. Um, so I have here a quote, right, and a pull quote, and that doesn't have shadows yet. So I can put in a button, um, button, and then I can go over to styles, and I can say, okay, I do fill it, but with a different background. I don't want any zero radius, but I want the better text, and that's the black one. And then I have under border and shadow, you can say, okay, I want to shadow, but then, well, these are only the default ones, yeah, and I can save it, but I can go to the site editor, um, go to buttons, blocks, and button, and then, oh, I cannot create shadows. So, oh,
Maybe
maybe,
it's the element we need to select.
yeah, I did. Okay. Um, so that's interesting. Shadows. Here we go.
Yeah.
So now, yeah, now we can do the
Yeah.
custom
First, you need to
shadow.
like create a shadow
Yeah, we
element
need to
and
create a
then,
shadow and then attach it to it. Yeah, right.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
oops. So,
I think we are coming to the end of our hour
okay.
of the
Good.
webinar. And I don't see any more questions for us today.
That's
I do want to just point out about um creating this configuration on InstaWP. What we talked about
mm-hmm,
is if you go to the configuration sections, and this is also a free feature, feel free to use it. You can create a new config. I just created this block theme dev thing, and under the WordPress tab, you can pre-install plugins like Create Block Theme and Gutenberg, which you mostly need whenever you're creating a new project. And when now, if you are creating a new project, clicking on Add New, you can choose the new thing which you created, which is the block theme dev, and click on Create Site. It will automatically install the plugins for you. So it's kind of a in WordPress playground world, it's called Blueprint.
mm-hmm.
So if you go
So
to the plugin section, now these are now created for you, added
that's
for you.
perfect.
You can get started really quickly.
Yeah,
So
wonderful.
just wanted to add a little bit of, okay, we do have one question though before we go. What is your favorite process to create new blocks? I know Core now has almost every block you need, but sometimes custom blocks are needed.
Well, I always start with a great block script.
Mhm.
That's part of Gutenberg, and you can just kind of npm create block, and then it asks you a few questions. So that's the scaffolding of it, and it has um, multiple templates that you could use. And you could also create your own templates for that. And there's one template that says no plugin, so it doesn't create a plugin. So you could use it in a theme. But you could also say, okay, the next a template is dash dash multiple, so you have multiple blocks in one script. The um, so that's what I would start, and then see, okay, what are the components that I need for it, for the editing and for the sidebar, for the inspector controls. And I mostly go to the storybook of all the components that are provided through the WP components packages. So I don't have to think about a lot of the user interfaces. And then sometimes I go to a plugin that I know that's on GitHub and kind of see how did they do this kind of thing.
Which is,
Uh,
yeah, which is like the favorite job of a programmer, right? It's going and learning from others' code, which
right.
is, I think,
Yeah.
which is what open source is all about.
hmm Yeah.
Well, a
That's my
quick question
process. So
there. Is there is a possibility of creating a block variation, which is much simpler than creating a block
mhm,
from scratch.
yeah. So there was just I don't know if you guys know about developer hours that are on every almost twice a month. And there was just the last one was about, do you really need a custom block? And going through some scenarios about, okay, how do you do block styles? How do you curate the editor experience without having to have a core block? So the list of those developer blogs, developer hours, videos, recordings, that's actually on YouTube. And I just also wanted to point out, just to be on the topic, I added to the resources also a August 27th event, developer hours on how to uh, building blocks, WordPress themes with a great block theme, but with Tammy Lister. And she is a great theme developer who can yeah, show off a lot of things that she
I
did
can
with
totally
that.
vouch for both Tammy and Annie. I think
hmm
they are both like geniuses in their own world. They do
Yeah,
great job in teaching as well.
yeah.
So definitely check it out. The resources link is pinned into the comment section, or if you can scroll up, you will find the docs there. Um, and with that, I think we should if there are no more questions, I would really thank everybody for being on the webinar, for taking their precious time out and learning about blogs. I hope you learned a little bit about blogs. Obviously, it's a huge topic, especially when you create a custom blog. I think that can be a follow-up webinar at some point, where
Yeah.
we can touch upon blog variation and creating a new blog from scratch.
Yeah.
But then in the meantime, keep exploring it. There is a very nice browser-based software called WordPress Playground now, which you can test out all of these without setting up WordPress. And if you there is an integration between Playground and Insta WP as well, where you can export the zip file from Playground and import into your Insta WP account, which you can export or migrate to any hosting company once you're ready.
Mhm.
So,
Well,
um, thanks, Birgit, to you as well for this lovely webinar today.
thank you, Vikas, for supporting all the playground things and supporting WordPress so much. And thanks for everybody for coming with some great questions. And I appreciate it very much to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a